Hello everybody and welcome to the channel where we take part sometimes in the self-masochistic behaviours of enjoying some pretty bad films. We all know the first Grease movie starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and if you don't, what are you doing? Go and check that out before you stop by and watch this. But here we are, for some reason, discussing Grease 2. Now, I had seen some clips of this film and I certainly second-guessed its existence. But let me tell you, it's very real. Now, in all honesty, I was quite enjoying this movie the first 10 minutes in, from this pretty solid musical sequence.
Back to school again. Senior year.
Called Back to School Again, which really reminded me of the absolute classic as we discussed, the first movie, which lasted all of 10 minutes. We see our new power couple Stephanie Zenone and Johnny Nogarelli. Incredibly hard boots to fill in place of legendary Sandy and Danny. Johnny being the leader of the T-Birds and Steph in the Pink Ladies, but their relationship is falling apart. Now, Michelle Pfeiffer as Stephanie I do very much prefer over Johnny, carrying over that lady power and cool cat that Sandy became by the end. But Johnny, it's a cartoon copy of Danny in mannerisms and just everything. It just feels like someone is in cosplay trying to do a cheap imitation. Quite good at times to be fair, but for the most part, not so much. This movie switches the roles, and now the lady being the cool one, and the guy being the quiet new kid on the block. Which brings us to our heartthrob of Michael Carrington. It's definitely clear on why he was hired, to bring in the ladies, but I couldn't take his British accent serious. It just sounded like a poor attempt at the stereotypical posh British accent. I mean, to be fair though, it wouldn't exactly be the same if he was coming from Newcastle, for instance.
I'm gonna go all out tonight and even iron my fucking shoelaces.
He's this really smart guy and bookworm, new freshman from out of town, struggling to find his clique. Of course, he falls in love at the sight of Stephanie, but most importantly here, he does not own a motorcycle. Which we learn of the importance of the hot rod biker after a horny Michelle Pfeiffer lusts over the idea of riding with some bad boy.
Lord have mercy.
In knowing this information, Michael does the T-Birds assignments to make some cash to save for that motorcycle. So now that you can wrap your head around that very complex story, it leads us to the tragic music numbers. They are really quite terrible. Good would be a considerable stretch. Apart from the misleadingly solid first dance number, as we discussed previously, the rest just falls flat, being a worse version of the first film. For instance, the song Reproduction. A song that breaks out during a sex ed class, or such classics as Let's Do It for Our Country, while a greaser tries to trick a lady into sleeping with him by pretending there is bombs being dropped outside. Now, if them don't really sound all too catchy to you, well, that's pretty much because they aren't. It was all just really quite a bit awkward, to be honest, and as though some of these songwriters decided get a group of people together, go to a pub, get absolutely hammered drunk, and wrote these songs. Later in the film, Michael basically becomes this mysterious stud. I think this is probably where Halloween Ends got its inspiration for its love story, because it's just as believable. The cheese here is not your cheese in a burger, it's more the cheese that's been left out for a week and grew quite a bit of mould on it. Thankfully though, one saving grace, well, not saving grace, but one decent aspect of the film is some returning faces. We have Frenchie, Principal McGee, and Leo, which was fun to see them here, but they stick out a bit like a sore thumb because the new cast just can't match their talent and not their faults necessarily, but nostalgia. So if you're in the mood for Grease, definitely check out the first movie and maybe just leave this one to the side. Have you seen this movie, unfortunately, or do I deserve a slap because you enjoyed it? Well, do let us know down in the comments if you plan on watching it. Are you a fan of the first Grease movie as well? Let us know. I personally do really love it. So, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next one.